Number 6, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Oh, there's more there where that came from, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister.
Order. Andrew Little.
Mr Speaker, to the Prime Minister, does he have confidence in his Minister of Building and Housing, and if so, why?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes. Well, because he's getting on with the job of increasing the supply of housing, particularly in Auckland.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
When he said yesterday there were no first right of refusal issues with the Crown land in Auckland, does he now accept that was wrong, and did he get that wrong because Nick Smith gave him bad advice?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, you'd have to look at the whole transcript. The point I was making is that in terms of right of first refusal, it's not triggered in Auckland when it comes to the Tamaki Collective.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Well, now that he's admitted that the 500 hectares of Auckland Crown land was a guesstimate, and also admitted that the 4 identified sites shown to journalists are only, quotes, conceptual, how many actual houses will his government be building for real families to live in?
A conceptual house.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
In the last 12 months, it's been 8,500, and Mr Speaker, I'm confident that parcels of land will be identified on track by October of this year, and houses will be built by 2016. Is that a guesstimate?
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Can he confirm that this is the situation so far? First, the policy was leaked early. Secondly, some of the land was occupied by power substations and cemeteries. Thirdly, it turned out they didn't actually have the 500 hectares promised. Fourthly, some of the land wasn't even owned by the Crown. Fifthly, it turned out the government couldn't sell the land without giving iwi first dibs. And lastly, it turns out the government has already given iwi first dibs to the land on Moy Road, and the whole thing is going to wind up in court.
Mr Speaker.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no. But if I did visit a cemetery, I know what I'd find there. The Labour Party, because according to their review, they're dead.
Order. That answer will not help the order of this House. Order. Supplementary question. Order.
Name calling.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Has he seen his minister's comments today blaming the failure of this policy on a reporter, creating, quotes, enormous pressure, end quotes, by asking too many questions? And if so, can he confirm that the list of people he blames so far for this housing crisis is now Labour, First Home Buyers, the Council, officials, and TV3's Brooke Sabin, everybody but the Minister of Housing?
That's right. Who else?
Order. Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, but I do remember the Leader of the Opposition being in his job for less than a couple of months and starting to get all scratchy with the media.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
When Auckland house prices are going up by $19,000 in 1 month and a shortage of houses getting worse every day on his watch, doesn't he think that Auckland families deserve more than the half-baked, last-minute fiascos that passed for a housing policy under this minister?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, far from it. Let's establish the facts. House prices doubled under the previous Labour government. Doubled. House prices went up in Auckland faster than they are under the national government. Under a national government, we've reformed the RMA and will continue to do so. Under a national government, we've identified special housing areas and going to fix it. Under a national government, we've taken off the tariffs that are applying to imported goods. Under a national government, we'll be releasing land. Mr Speaker, we are getting the job done, but the reason it's such a big job is because we inherited such a mess from people who, again, did absolutely nothing in government.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Is it his position then that his Minister of Building and Housing has the Auckland housing problem fully under control?
Well, Mr. Speaker,
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
What I can say about the Minister of Housing is he's outstanding. There you go. You want to clap for him? Go for it.
Order. Question number 7. Order. Order.